canonically in the Nintendo world, Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country is Donkey Kong Jr. from the original NES games. And Donkey Kong in those games is Cranky Kong.
I thought Cranky Kong was Grandpa.
He is Grandpa. Cranky Kong is the grandpa. In the Donkey Kong Country world, that's what I'm saying. So the Donkey Kong from 1983 that threw barrels at Jumpman before he was Mario, who kidnapped Paulina, whatever, is Cranky Kong because he aged. He grew up.
Yeah.
So Cranky Kong is Donkey Kong from 1983. Donkey Kong Jr. is Donkey Kong in Donkey Kong Country with Diddy Kong.
Yes.
Yes. That is legit canon from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I found out. They printed it. They're like, this is what it is. This is what we say.
And you're just finding that out?
Yeah, I never read any of the Brawl background story stuff.
I thought you had I knew that. So I was waiting for the drop.
No. Are you excited now? No, I fell asleep to a Donkey Kong retrospective last night, and that's one of the first things they brought up, and I was like, I kind of felt like that was always kind of like a fan theory, but I didn't know that it was legit in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, when you unlock trophies and history and stuff. It's and Cranky Kong is actually Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong is actually Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh. How did you know that? You just knew it?
I just knew it.
You were born with the knowledge?
I don't know. I just knew that was the thing.
He was just born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Sorry, I was looking at this and I wanted to close. I had 8 million things open that I don't need.
No, you already do this then?
Mm-hmm. This is Dummy.
This is Jacob. This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Is a life on Mars? Hey, everybody. Are you not ready?
I'm ready. Can you say?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Teacher's Mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob. We're a movie review podcast. We talk about movies, who made them, who's in them, kind of talk about the themes and ideas of them, and then give it a rating at the end. The rating is arbitrary, does not mean anything. It's a nice way to end it, and it's just our opinion about the movie.
It is opinions. It is opinions.
And it may or may not line up with yours.
It may not. Sometimes I've been finding out a lot. It doesn't really line up with a lot of people.
Well.
But what do we also like to play a little game in this
that
space.
I forget to play every time.
It's a long one today.
I'll get there.
Do you have it written down? You want to say who it is?
Dakota.
Or I can pull up mine.
Dakota Johnson to Regina King.
Yes.
I think. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I can't really tell my...
Dakota Johnson, if you don't know, she's most famous probably for 50 Shades Grey. Regina King, done all her other stuff. She's done voice acting. I recognize her mostly probably Big Bang Theory. Or Friday, which is what I used. So I did this backwards. I went from Regina King and went back to Dakota Johnson. But this is a long one because I literally couldn't figure out a 2 or a 3 or a 1. It was damn hard. All right, so Regina King is in Friday with Chris Tucker, who is in Rush Hour with Jackie Chan, who is in Shanghai Noon with Lucy Liu, who is in Charlie's Angels with Luke Wilson, who is in Idiocracy with the cameo of Thomas Hayden Church, who is in Peanut Butter Falcon with Dakota Johnson.
Wow.
Are you doing the Connect the Stars?
Well, I was actually
trying to.
Well, I was just looking at now. Is there just an autocomplete?
There isn't on that one. There is a website somewhere that has one that has the quickest connection.
Why don't they just make?
And I don't know which website that is. I think I know how to find it though. I'll do some research.
Yeah, because it'd be nice if they just had an auto connect.
It's the auto connect, the one that I saw that does an auto connect that does the quickest connection possible. It'll use a fucking background actor that has 20 credits on IMDb and no other stuff.
That's not really fun.
Yeah.
That kind of defeats the purpose of the game.
Yeah.
Or you're really...
It's I know... Well, Benny Fun Nuts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why did I have such a hard time coming up with a name?
Benny Fun Nuts. Well,
Benny Fun Nuts.
that's now the name of the guy. I like callbacks. So Benny Fun Nuts is now
Just like
the
Jack's John Smith, you know?
Nope, it's Benny Fun Nuts. Benny Fun Nuts is Thug number 2 in Spider-Man 2, and then
And Thug number 4 in Iron Man.
Iron Man.
And
All right. Well, to get into today's episode, it is episode 227. The little block that we're doing right now is kind of movies that we missed over the last couple of years. So we're starting with 2021.
and moving forward, we'll go to 2022, 2023, and then we'll hit up with last year at the end of this block.
Yes. So we kind of just together went through a list and found movies that we were really excited to see and then just somehow forgot about them or missed them.
Well, this would be a fun time to do the count, really, and let's do it before we for 2021. Before this movie, obviously, how many had you seen?
32, which
Only
I was
18.
very surprised by.
I had 18, and they were all within like the top, like on the list that we look for, like within like the top 50-ish.
Well, that's something else. You know, a lot of those are Marvel movies.
Exactly, so many just
Well, then for
superhero
me,
for that one.
well, then for me is kids movies. I like kids movies a lot,
Yeah.
so I watch a lot.
There's
of
a handful
them,
of kids movies I've watched in there.
but I think I watch them
Yeah.
probably more than you do. But yeah, so we are doing 2021's Licorice Pizza. For those that don't know what Licorice Pizza is, 2 young people navigate love in the San Fernando Valley in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It is a coming-of-age love story
Yeah.
drama.
I really
comedy.
lean more into the love story more than anything. Definitely coming of age a little bit, but it's definitely, I see the love story in it more than anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's coming of age.
Well,
So.
yeah, I know, but like I said, that's in there, but I would say I feel like it's leaning more on the love story side.
Sure. Anyways.
We can have different opinions too.
Released November 26th in 2021.
My birthday.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that until just now.
Mm-hmm. I really wanted to, if you remember, I wanted to see this for my birthday, but I don't think it was out yet, or maybe it wasn't in the theaters that we were going to. So we had to go see Internals instead, and that was a big disappointment.
Yeah, we went with the 2 girls that were really stoned, and they were confused.
The entire time. We were confused the entire
which I
time.
gave them. It was like totally fair. And they thought it was because they were stoned, and you're like, no,
No, this just isn't really
this is not.
pacing very well.
It's kind of confusing. But yes, to get into it, our writer / director is Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yes.
And I actually added a couple of his stuff to our list.
Well, what's interesting is I guess it's more, I thought I've seen more of his stuff. In theory, I guess I like him a lot. I do really like what I've seen of his, but I just need to actually watch more because I've only seen There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights. And also he's like specifically writer and director his stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't write a script and then give it to somebody or direct somebody else's script. It's like, he's like, this is my thing.
Well, I wrote down Boogie Nights, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, and Cigarettes and Coffee.
Fair. Cigarettes Coffee looks good. Punch Drunk Love, I've
That's
seen.
like the first like
bits
indie film I've seen.
That's a good introduction to good indie films, you know.
That's a really interesting movie.
I've only seen bits from that, and like I need to actually just sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I mean that's all it is.
Is that Marissa Tomei in it?
I don't remember. The one I
Or no, I might be thinking of Spanglish.
The one I really remember is oh. No, she's not in Spanglish. Is Marissa Tomei in Spanglish? No. No, but the only bit I really remember from Cigarettes and Coffee is Tom Waits, funny enough, and Iggy Pop. Because the whole thing is just conversation over coffee and cigarettes. And there's a conversation between Iggy Pop and Tom Waits that's really, really funny. It's kind of uncomfortable.
I would imagine so. Those two people?
Those 2 personalities.
Yeah.
Just kind of...
But Paul Thomas Anderson, he directs a lot of music videos.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
I mean, that's, he's fucking Paul Thomas Anderson. He do what the fuck he wants, you know?
Yeah.
But directed a hand...
I think just real quick, I think what's interesting is usually we see the music video thing and then it stops.
Yeah.
But he has continued to do that.
I think he just likes music in music videos, you know, which
Clearly.
is great, you know.
But it's just usually they
It's like
move,
where they start.
They move on from that, you know, but he still does it, which I kind of respect.
Well, now it's kind of like if you get someone like Paul Thomas Anderson who wants to direct a music video for you, you know you've made it.
Well, you take the offer.
Yeah, because like he did a handful of Radiohead music videos. And I'm just pointing at like the biggest ones, and specifically the band Haim, who I had never heard of before this movie, and I listened to a little bit of their music, and it's music.
I had known of them from their collaboration with T Swift, but I didn't realize that they, you know, this movie and them, and then, you know,
it's a bunch of sisters doing music together. It's the Girl Hanson, but it's not at all. But the reason why would bring that up is because our lead actress of this film is Alana Haim. Who isn't she the lead? Is she the main singer?
I'm not even gonna pretend to know.
To know? Didn't really look.
I list. No, I mean, I will. Yeah, I went on Spotify and listened to some of their music just to kind of get what their vibe is, but I have no idea who.
Yeah.
What. I added a couple of songs that I was like, I only listened to a little bit of it. I was like, maybe. So I put it on my check it out playlist. You know, so I'm kind of interested.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like those family bands. You know,
The Partridge Family.
I think it's kind of cool. You know, it's like a cool element to.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of crazy.
Do you like the Jonas Brothers?
Not particularly.
I was like, I need to reach for a family thing that.
I don't even know. I'm sure I know a song, and someone would be like, "Oh, this is the Jonas Brothers." I'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay."
I
sure.
think you might know more like a Nick Jonas song over the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, isn't Cake, or is that? Well, that's the thing. Isn't what's the other one? What group? One Direction. I get Jonas Brothers in One Direction.
I was just about to say I can see like because I was like
like Cake by the Ocean. I was like, oh, that's a Jonas Brother, right? And I'm like, no, I think that's actually one of the One Direction guys. I don't know. This is not my lane, so I'm not going to pretend to know. But I
can give you history upon history of like first wave, second wave, third wave emo, but I just can't tell you anything about.
Can tell you shit about Jonas Brothers.
Yeah. But yeah,
one of them's named Nick.
There's Joe.
That's cool.
Joe Jonas.
Joe Jonas.
Yeah. I think I might be pulling that out of my ass.
That'd be really funny if you're really wrong. Okay, we're real quick though. So just with back to Paul. Well, Paul, yes, a lot of he did, and I did read something about that as their connection, is that he knew them very well from doing their music videos for so long, and wanted to give a lead that wrote it with the idea of her and the family. And
well, and also I guess even maybe we got into starring a little bit quick. How he came upon creating this film is because this is very much out of the realm of what Paul Thomas Anderson generally does. He does like more like intense psychological, maybe not intense, but very dark, more psychological. Like, dude, Inherent Vice, There Will Be Blood. Like the most lighthearted thing he'd done before this was probably Boogie Nights.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is very close in DNA to Boogie Nights.
Yeah,
it's very dialogue heavy, very situational, and very grounded.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like everything, even if it seems like a wild situation. And I'm thinking about like the two things, Boogie Nights, Heather Graham kicking the living shit out of that dude wearing her roller skates. Crazy. And then the truck, which was like my favorite scene, the truck rolling down the hill. Yeah. Yes, they are crazy, but they're not out of the park enough to not have happened. Yeah. It's so there are these kind of big, like, whoa kind of moments, but they're very grounded.
Did you recognize that hill?
No.
Okay. I don't know. It was in...
I'm not really... I
didn't
really spend a lot of time in San Fernando or Encino.
Okay. So I was just curious.
And a lot of it looks the same to me, to be honest.
So it's like, yeah, I've seen a hill like that.
Yeah. And it's also like the 70s is very much a timestamp, and the 90s is very much a timestamp. So it could have been the same intersection for all I know, and it's a completely different world.
I was just asking a question.
Watching this with my mom was really fun, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because she grew up, she was there.
That's the area she grew up in?
Yeah, she was like there. Mm-hmm. She had forgotten about Tale of the Cock.
Oh, yeah. I read that it was torn down in
like 1987 or something like that. 1980s.
Yeah.
But that was really funny. She saw it and she's like, holy hell, I forgot about that place. Like,
that's cool.
And it was the place. It was the where the actors went to go eat.
Yeah.
So it was like their watering hole, and she's like, yeah, that's this. And it was when Sean Penn showed up on screen that she had this like flashback of like, right, that was the place. They all just hung out there and did their thing, and it was just cool for her to have like, to be like, is that like at the end of it, it's like, how accurate was that to you? She's like, very accurate.
That's cool. That's
That
really cool.
Nailed the vibe, and it was very much, it was like that.
And then Sean Penn going out on a fucking motorcycle. Yeah. Jesus. Because this movie, it's different from Paul Thomas Anderson movies regularly.
Yes.
I forget where I was going with that.
That was just that this was.
How he wrote it. So
yeah.
He apparently is like at reading is like he was just driving by like a middle school and he saw it was picture day and saw this like woman taking a picture of a young guy, and just saw them kind of like maybe like having some type of banter, and just kind of thought in the back of his head like, wouldn't it be funny if they were dating? And then Gary's character is based off of a friend of his that was a child actor and like told these stories of like being in a movie with Lucille Ball and doing that Sullivan Show and all of this stuff. And it's just like all of these stories that he had collected over the years. And even just like his friend who started a waterbed business and a pinball arcade as well. So it's kind of like loosely, and it's not based on true story, but based on like real event horizon. Not that. Oh yeah. So it was just kind of like interesting because I didn't really put it together when I first saw that it was a new Paul Thomas Anderson film, and I really liked the trailer for it. I remember when it came out, and I was like, I really want to see it because I like Paul Thomas Anderson. I never really put together that this would be such a different film from what he had done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't entirely.
Other than Boogie Nights, it's the only one.
Well, no, but I even just kind of think about it more. I just kind of disagree in the sense of even with There Will Be Blood. I'm just coming kind of the realization of how much he is. Paul Thomas is a very grounded Quentin Tarantino, very dialogue heavy.
Yeah,
that is the focus of the movie. It kind of is. It's very dialogue.
It's about the moments.
Yeah. It's about the moment to moment and the interactions. A lot of the time, the intimate interactions between two people.
Yeah.
Whether it be romantic, whether it be enemy, whatever. They're always in some very tight relationship, even if it's on opposing sides. So
I mean, that's very true because there is that identity of Paul Thomas Anderson through this entire film, but it doesn't have it's so much more lighthearted. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I mean. Like it's
the theme is lighthearted.
Yeah, it's not, his themes are generally like isolation, alienation, existentialism in a big way. Like just like a lot more of these like darker internal things of the human condition. And this is a coming of age love story.
Well, and it also, but actually what you said, the isolation, existentialism, that kind of is happening.
It is
just from the perspective of a young person, though. Yes. It's a kind of.
All through Alana,
and it's not, There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis questioning God.
I drink your milkshake.
Yeah, beating someone to death with a. Never mind. Spoiler? I don't know.
That movie's so old.
Yeah, it's like beating someone to death with a
bowling pin.
Yeah, bowling pin. I was gonna call it a billiard. Isn't that what they're called?
No, a billiard pool.
No. Anyways. Yeah.
Okay. So let's get back into starring. So starring Alana Haim of the band Haim. This is her movie debut, acting debut, I guess, as well as our leading young man, Cooper Hoffman, the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. God damn, was there moments where he looked so much like his dad. And it just does in general.
I forgot who he was. Who his dad was, the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman. But when watching it, I was like, God,
he looks like somebody.
He looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like even his mannerisms. But I was streaming it from my phone onto my mom's TV, and what's cool about that is that Amazon opens up the X-ray on your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
So it says like in scene, and like and tells you the song. It's really it's great for this. You can really. just quick reference stuff. And because it says their name and what they're known
That's
for.
so cool.
It's actually a really cool idea. And yeah, I was just sitting there and I was like, God, even the way he's taught, like everything about him, it's like, it's not always, but there's these moments. And then I was like, oh shit, I forgot this is his kid.
This is his kid. And it's his acting debut.
Yeah. And he's great. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm very curious about where his career is going to go.
100%. Well, and then like I didn't even realize this, but earlier in the day I watched Saturday Night, and he's in that as well.
Baby Hoffman or
Baby Hoffman?
Baby Hoffman?
Yeah, Cooper Hoffman. It's like his third film credit.
Oh, then there's the old guy, which I really want to watch.
Oh yeah.
The assassin one with
Yeah.
Christopher Waltz.
Yeah.
Which just looks, I don't know.
I mean, he's got a short IMDb. I mean, 4 right now.
I refuse to watch the trailer.
Fair.
But it's a hitman, Christopher Waltz teaching young Cooper, hitman, how to take the mantle to pass the baton, and it's got a 7.2 on IMDb, and I'm very surprised that it's that high. So I'm gonna go in not watching anything.
Yeah,
I want to go in completely blind because I'm like, let's go.
It came out last year too, didn't it?
Yeah, it came out just last year.
There is
a
slew of
shit ton of cameos, and it's really cool. Which I also didn't know that Maya Rudolph was longtime partners with
Paul Thomas Anderson.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and we just did her last week.
Yeah.
She was in.
You want me to just go down the list and see who we miss?
Yeah, let me pull out who I wrote down just from memory, people. So go ahead.
Well, first I have the Haim family. The entire Haim family.
Yes, which is cool.
They're playing her family.
Well,
even mother and father. Yeah.
Well, it was funny too because I went into this not knowing anything, and there was the scene when she comes home and you see the mom sitting on the couch with the 2 daughters. Mm-hmm. I was just like, Jesus, that's a lot of daughters. And my mom just goes, yeah, and they all really look like mom. Like, kind of like that. Man, that's crazy. Like, that casting is really good.
That's great casting.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, and then come to find out at the end of the credits, which I also did appreciate. They pulled the kind of weird Quentin Tarantino thing, the Kill Bill.
Yeah. And
gave everyone a shot, a quick little 10-second thing in their name. And I really just appreciated giving everyone, their credit in an interactive way,
So the Haim family, and then I got Sean Penn, Tom Waits, Bradley Cooper, John Michael Higgins, Mary Elizabeth Ellis, and Skylar Gisondo.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly, really quick.
Oh, the Munsters.
Yeah, just a flash. Literally, I heard his voice and I was like, "The fuck?"
Yeah, I mean that's all. I mean, I had Mary and Skylar.
Oh, and Maya Rudolph.
Because they were both in Santa Clara Diet together, which I just thought was random.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Ellis, I know from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Mm. And Skylar, the National Lampoon's Vacation with Ed Helms remake. He's done some other things, but that's immediately what I
just watched something with him in it, and he's like like a kid in it, and he's a huge piece of shit. It's kind of funny. He's the bully, which as he got older, he became the not bully. And it was just weird to see that. But yeah, no, they're in Santa Clara, died together, and they play mother and son.
Okay.
Which I just thought was funny. I was like, oh, so he's playing the mom and the Cooper. Okay, cool. Got it. Interesting.
I just found it crazy just how many this movie is such a vehicle for Alana and Cooper. And it's just weird, like the little like bits that they go through. And just like how it's almost episodic in a way. And each part, like there's like another like big name or just a group of like, main character, the main character experiencing another like side character type thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a guest star in the next episode.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like,
I'm pretty sure DiCaprio's dad. Wasn't it?
Leonardo DiCaprio's dad?
Yeah.
From what? What are you talking about? Like his actual dad?
His dad. There was an older man. I can't remember what it was. Something DiCaprio. And I was like, well, how many DiCaprios do we know there are? And just because of the...
That's such a weird... I don't know any... Like, I've never known Leonardo DiCaprio's dad to ever be anything.
How do you... There you go. George DiCaprio as Mr. Jack. I'm wondering now. I just had this thought.
Mr. Jack. Just look at. Eh.
Yeah, continue. I don't know. That's just how many DiCaprios are there.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna.
I think we should probably just move into reviews, and then we can actually get into the film, because I feel like what I was saying was going to be a segue into the film.
That is his dad.
Nice.
Yeah, there's pictures of and that's definitely long. He kind of looks like he's got the Tommy Wiseau thing. Oh. Long dark hair and the glasses in this picture right here. Huh, funny. Interesting. I would like to see what he looks like. I wonder who Leonardo pulls from more. Okay.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, yeah, I wanted to look up Cooper Hoffman's. I keep wanting to say Cooper Rush. And I was like, I don't know. That's
Cooper Hoffman's what?
Mom. Like who his mother is. And like but Cooper Rush, who is that? It doesn't matter. We need to do reviews.
Oh, like, or are you just curious if she's like
who he pulls from more?
Her name is Mimi O'Donnell.
Okay, don't know who that is, but I can't look at it. So
yeah, we need to figure out that whole.
You want to do your reviews?
You have to do the scores.
Well, I'm just waiting. I want to see if you're ready first.
I said yes.
Well, now you're looking at Mimi O'Donnell.
Yeah, because you asked about Mimi O'Donnell.
And then I said, let's not worry about it.
Oh, you got me on it.
Well, Licorice Pizza.
Pizza.
Oh, yeah. Fun fact. How he got the name Licorice Pizza, because it was bothering me.
It's a record store.
It was a record store of the 70s. Mm-hmm. And then also he kind of talked about like two things that really bring back nostalgia. Like his whole thing was like, he really wanted to bring back nostalgia for this film. 1973 San Fernando.
Okay, I had no idea what you were trying to say.
I was going to say Surfando.
Surfando
Valley.
Surfando
I
Valley.
was like, what the fuck am I trying to say? Yeah, he wanted to bring back the nostalgia with it. And he also kind of commented with like, nothing more brings back nostalgia for like being like that age or just young is than like a licorice from movies and like just pizza in general, licorice pizza. So, but yeah, this got on IMDb a 7.1 rating, which is moderately good. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 90% tomato meter, so critics loved it, and then a 65 popcorn meeting, which means people were lukewarm about it. Mm-hmm. And I see that. I really see this being much more a critic.
I think objectively it's a well-made movie,
100%,
but I can see you not caring about it.
Yeah, just like the casual moviegoer, the casual audience.
Yeah.
If you're not a Paul Thomas Anderson fan, you might just be like, yeah.
Well, or even like,
not my thing.
Yeah, I just think it could not be your thing. It's not. It's very coming of age love story thing, but it's not also like rom-com-y.
No.
So it doesn't really have that. Like,
it feels real-ish. Yeah. Like definitely exaggerated types of characters, which I felt very interesting. I felt like the adults, some of them, like the adults that they were interacting with, were a lot more exaggerated caricatures than the children.
Yeah, I think it was
it's like a perspective thing.
Yeah, the lens of hindsight, looking back on it and remembering the things, and it went like this, like the whole John Peters thing.
Yes,
which was awesome.
Oh, so fucking funny. Streisand, Barbara Streisand.
Do you have a family? Yeah. Do you have a cat or dog? No. Then you have a brother. Okay, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna choke out your brother in front of you.
It's like,
you will be horrified.
Bradley Cooper probably had a blast with that role.
Well, apparently they reached out to John Peters and were like
asking if they could use his likeness.
Yeah. Well, and then like, can we make you a psycho? And he was like, yeah, sure.
As long as you use, what was it? He was like, under the condition that you use my favorite pickup line.
Yeah. I was like,
hey, ladies, do you like peanut butter sandwiches?
When I was watching that too, I was just like, I gotta look into this now. I've never heard of John Peters being a psycho. Like,
really?
Not really.
Oh no, yeah, executive produced. Like on set, he was apparently a nightmare.
Oh, I never heard of anything. I just knew that he was with Barbara. That's all I knew, and he was a hairdresser.
Yeah,
right. He was her hairdresser, and they got together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I knew really about him.
Yeah,
I never heard of these.
No, apparently, like no, he. I wouldn't be surprised if it was some type of like inferiority thing.
Because he was with Barbara.
No, because he didn't have the same star power as her, and so he would get on set and be like, "I'm fucking who." Like he felt like he had to make himself a presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, what do you got for reviews?
So this is kind of crazy. So this on Metacritic has a 90, which comes to universal acclaim, with 52 positive reviews, 3 mixed and 0 negative.
That makes sense.
No. 52?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Like I said,
That's
90% tomato meter.
No, but 52 reviews just in the positive category.
Well, yeah, but I mean, positive goes down to what? 70?
I'm talking about the number 52. We've never had a movie that had
That many reviews?
that many reviews in total.
Oh, really?
52 just in the positive. That's crazy.
I don't see those numbers. You just say them to me, and they just kind of like fall on me.
That's wild.
Okay.
I mean, granted, this is also one of the more in this day and age movies we've done. So the internet, we're usually doing early 2000s, 90s, or 80s.
We'll track that, and we'll see in the next couple of movies how many you get.
I mean, I think it's going to be a lot. So for the positive by Justin Chang, who gave it 100, and I picked one because I liked what was written, but two is also the LA Times, and I thought that was kind of fitting considering the period and everything. And it also fit. I actually wrote my own review, and it fit. We had the same sentiment. So with Licorice Pizza, Anderson has sifted through a haze of wildly embellished tales and half-forgotten memories and pieced together something that feels more concrete, more archingly tangibly real than just about any American movie this year.
Fair. Yeah.
So kind of going into what we were talking about how it's these two kids and them kind of reminiscing about this period.
The episodic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's even like what I liked too about the writing is it made, in my opinion, it was written with the idea that the audience is intelligent as opposed to coddling.
Yeah.
And what made me start noticing that is when he's talking about going to New York for that event, his mom can't take him, and we need a guardian.
Oh, a chaperone.
And then he just kind of sits there for a second, and then it just cuts to them in the airplane flying there. There wasn't any exposition on him asking her or any. It's like, okay, from that conversation to now this moment, we can piece it together. Let's move it on.
Yeah.
Let's
He used, and then it's also a ploy for him to get her closer to him.
Yeah, and it's like it didn't need to.
He is a slick kid.
He is. It didn't need to hold our hand. It really, and which it just. Sometimes you watch something and they're really spoon feeding you things, and you're like, we didn't need to spend 15 minutes on this. Like, come on, let's go. And just throughout the movie, they're doing that. They're just like, all right, I believe that you're gonna know how we got to this point.
If someone's like, why is she with him? Did you not see?
Just watch the previous scene again.
Yeah.
All right, rewind it real quick. And
Did you figure? Did you get it now?
And I really appreciate that not being led through every single moment. Because then it just helped the pacing.
Yeah. Especially for a movie that's 2 hours and 13 minutes.
It wasn't.
And it's a comfortable 2 hours, 13 minutes.
It wasn't until she is leaving, what's his name? The twin, Iceman. The gay guy.
Oh, that's like the end of the movie.
Well, that was the only time when she leaves William at his house and she's walking down the street by herself.
That's such a sweet moment.
That I was like, okay, where are we going now?
Oh,
then I was kind of
this has to be.
We have to be kind
wrapping
of
it up.
Done, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to watch another business endeavor. You know what I mean? That's when but at that point I was like, oh, the movie's over. Mm-hmm. So 3/4 of the way, basically, it went the very last act, and then I was like, when is this going to end? Which is nice.
They're kind of like magnets. They're like weirdly drawn to each other.
Oh yeah, them getting together is the worst thing possible. They should not be getting together because the 70s are going to have kids, and some years are going to go by. They're going to hate each other. Like, it's not good. I don't think that's.
Maybe there might actually be a sweet true love in there.
Okay.
Dude, she's crazy, and he's not too far off from that as well.
Yeah, well,
we'll get into that. Let's go to reviews. Because I have fun thoughts. This is a fun movie to dissect. Actually.
I didn't really have any of the mix that I particularly cared for, but the one that kind of stood out the most was with a 60 by Stephanie Zacharek at Time. Licorice Pizza feels pleased with how casual and effortless it is, which is the exact opposite of being casual and effortless. It insists upon itself. That's how I took that.
Okay, I'm trying to
Feels pleased with how casual and effortless it is.
Okay, so it is casual and effortless.
Feels, yeah, it's happy with the way it comes off.
Yeah.
Which is the exact opposite of being casual and effortless. Yeah, that's what I really. It insists upon itself. I like that people make fun of that, but it weirdly makes sense to my brain. It's.
What do you mean you don't like The Godfather? It insists upon itself.
It in the right context. That phrase makes a lot of
upon itself.
Makes it make sense to me, and I think that's kind of what we're getting at here.
I get to that scene where they're all talking and I can't understand the language they're talking. They're speaking Italian. It's a language of subtlety. I know that scene way too well. Anywho.
So back to this thing.
Not Family Guy?
So I think that's the way I took it.
Poopies.
That's how I took it.
Fair. I just yeah. I'm still I see why you're taking it that way. Because it's just a weird I want to really unpack and we'll get another time. I know I want to do it right now. Sorry. That phrase really fucked me up.
Clearly.
What else do you got?
That was all.
Okay.
Like even, at IGN, Tara Bennett said, what Anderson doesn't give us is the inner lives of anyone in the film.
You get really big inner lives of our two main characters. Say that again?
What Anderson doesn't give us is the inner lives of anyone in the film. And again, just to concede and reiterate, these are just tidbits that are pulled out from. So even that one, that's why I didn't write that one down and really wanted to focus on it because that's one of those out of context.
Yeah.
There could have been an entire thing leading up to that.
Because they're not wrong about pretty much every side character, but Alana and Gary, you get a very big life of them. But that's kind of the thing is that this is a vehicle for their story. So everyone else and their just contextual use is all a vehicle for their character development. So they don't really need an inner life. That's really the point of this film.
Well, but I would again say that that's not entirely accurate because of it's a dialogue heavy movie. So when Alana is freaking out at her sister kind of off the bat because she's feeling a type of way.
That's such a great scene.
Find out. God, I just had to. Oh, man. I wish I was trying to remember it.
Is it the scene where the.
Man. Oh, bummer. I just had a flash of another movie.
Oh.
Okay, anyways.
I thought you were
I thought of Leslie Mann and Knocked Up. Doorman. It's kind of what she's doing to her sister. But even that conversation right there where Alana's kind of freaking out at her sisters for being nosy and all this kind of stuff. She even says, basically, you're the perfect daughter because you work for mom and dad, and shoves that in their face. So even though we're not going to the sisters' work and seeing that, we know that is causing a rift in the family because she is following in the real estate. So it's we are getting a look into their lives.
Is that? We're getting a glimpse into the life over there, but then also how much is that actuality of it's just because that may not be the fate. You know what I mean? You know where I'm going.
Yeah, no, but that's
that's all we're getting Alana's feelings, and then
but it's a fact.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because then you really get to see specifically in that moment the craziness of Alana.
Well, but the thing is, if that wasn't a fact, and she's just going around yelling about how you real estate agent, it's are you off your meds again? I'm an accountant. Why do you keep thinking
I work for mom and dad as their accountant? I don't sell shit for them.
Or even if you know what I mean? It's no. So she's a real estate agent of some kind, you know. So,
but it's because you see Alana really go off kilter for the first time, and you see the immaturity of her, which is a very important characteristic of her for the entire film. Is even though she is 25, she is still a kid. Really, she's still young of mind. And because in the next scene you have her sister and her outside, and just this silence and the cigarette, and then you really need to stop trying to fight with everybody. Fuck off, Elaine.
That got me.
Dude, I died laughing. It's just because it's you see her sister saying, the true thing, and then her doing exactly what it's just like, it's such a, like you said, it's the subtle character development. I guess maybe that's not subtle, but it's like you see it. You see this conflict of the character.
Well, yeah, it's Inception. It really is. It's telling us off mic kind of thing, and that's what I really. And you know me, I've for pretty much my entire life, I've been obsessed with dialogue, and I love dialogue. And to toot my own horn, it's one of the things I've been told I can write pretty well. And so when you knock it out of the park, and that's what this movie alone starts off rating wise at a 3 for me, because the dialogue, and I think the dialogue is really hard to make real, and then also
well, and then to have people perform it very realistic.
Yeah, it's really hard to get everything lined up, and even I really respect even the whole pinball thing that we end up talking about. We're overhearing that conversation, and then now the plot goes that way, and it's not this big exposition of showing us, you know, a TV program or, oh, now pinball. It's just this, so pinball not illegal anymore, and then you see his gears turning.
Days, it's gonna be,
you know, you see his gears turning about making a business out of it,
because he's always, always scheming.
Yeah,
always got the next thing figured out.
And it's like, it's such a small thing, but it's a really cool scene. It's just from like a movie making. You're like, that was cool. Like, that was really simple, really straightforward, and it completely shifted the plot. Just turned the plot in this direction, but it wasn't, you know, it was a subtle drift over here.
It was kind of like it was the next inciting action of like the next beat of the film, because it's you like at that moment in the film, the movie feels kind of like lost. I feel, you know, she became this like volunteer for the politician.
Well, yeah, you're kind of sitting there like, what is he gonna do now?
Yeah, you know, you're which is interesting, you know, as the audience, we're like, well, what is he like? Why is he filming? What is this? And then the pinball, and then you see him calling, and you're like, oh, we're rolling the ball again. Like, you're feeling it with him again. It's like, see what I'm talking about? How like they get, by doing that, it gets you reinvested like him. Yeah, like you are, as the audience, experiencing the
it's
adrenaline with
as he's having that moment where he's listening to that conversation, and he's having that aha moment. You're having the aha moment with him. It's really interesting. That's what I mean about you're overhearing the conversation as well, and you and the audience and the character are both going, oh, like I got an idea, and it almost makes you feel like you had the idea. It's really interesting.
And then you have Alana coming in like, don't, you're not doing what I fucking think you're
that
doing.
Was wild scene. She just goes off on him, and then it's kind of like, why are you mad, bro?
No, oh, dude! And when he's like, you wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for me, or what is he? He's like, you wouldn't have done any. Oh yeah,
he's the producer. I found you. I made you who you are. Thing. Yeah.
He's like, you would. Oh, fuck! I forget. Yeah,
she just pulled a Mr. Big. Well, the thing too I really appreciated in this movie is the actual 100%, and it's just rare, especially from what we have been doing in the last couple of weeks, you know, and then coming to something that is this fresh. This is only 4 years old, which is not very long at all.
Yeah.
So something that is this fresh, I know it's like probably old news to people, but because it's been out for 4 years, but this is very fresh, and it still feels very fresh, even though it's 4 years old. But this movie 100% has two main characters that are very different. Just even the fact that you have one man, one woman right there. Then you have the age gap of 10 years, 15, 25. And it, honest to God, really shows them in an equal amount of light with equal amount of growth and equal amount of time. And a lot of the time, even then, it's like, you know, like Kate and Leopold is starring Hugh Jackman and then Meg Ryan. And it falls into that. He has more screen time. He's kind of our main guy. But this really feels like you're watching both of them. And it just, even that, there's that scene where she's talking to right before the pinball thing, she's talking about how she's changing the world because she's working for this congressman. And you're like, you are fucking delusional.
You are answering phone calls as a volunteer. No, yeah, she's like, I'm a politician. No, you're not.
Yeah, you're like, you're fucking delusional. And then you follow, and then he follows with his thing.
And he's just as
And
fucking...
he's just as fucking delulu. And I was like, you both are so fucking crazy. And I loved it because it was that moment of like, it almost felt like we were going to villainize her and then make her the issue. And then he immediately comes back and they just, it's like, he's here, she's here. And they immediately go boom. And they're right back at the same level again. And I went, that's fucking great writing.
That's what, like they're saying that they're magnets. They're so opposites, but so similar.
They just can't stay away from each other.
And it's crazy is like, I was kind of thinking that it's like we're balancing because there is the controversialness of the age. Like he is 15, 16. She is 25, 26.
It's the 70s.
Even still, it's like, but like the thing that weirdly that I literally was expecting by the end of the movie because of how she acts as a character, that it was going to be a reveal that she's been lying the entire time and she was like 18.
I think she has been lying.
You do think it is a lie?
Well, because even when she and Bradley John Peters are in the car together.
She says 28, no 25.
Yeah, so already you're like...
Yeah, no, exactly. So you have... But it's never... We can't say that is true. No. Because it is never...
The only one that knows is Peter. I mean,
Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah. And maybe Alana, because like in character development.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, you know.
But I think that
and it makes more sense. It would make it feel better in a way, in a sense.
That really. But again, that doesn't bug me.
That's fine. It was a controversial thing. I read about that. There was two big controversies with this.
What were the two?
That one, the age difference, because it is technically an older woman getting with a child, a young man. Okay. A not of age man.
Yeah. Okay.
And the guy with the Japanese wife and him. And Paul Thomas Anderson went on defending. He was like, yeah, because that's how people treated Japanese Americans in the 70s.
But that's my point, is that you have to look at it through the lens of the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what the thing was. Number one, we think Alana's lying. No, we do. Mm-hmm. We don't know. We do.
Yeah.
But even then, too, it's like
we're talking now the two controversies, and I'll go back to my thing.
Oh no, yeah. So finish. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Do you care about the controversial thing?
Yeah, I do. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, do you have more thoughts on it?
Yes. So okay. So just the 15-year-old, 25-year-old thing. One, we think she's lying because. Yeah. She wants to
appear... It's not concrete, but that is what it is.
Yeah, but she wants to appear older, more mature, and then her actions scream that she's not.
Exactly. And that's where I would go.
It's not even just for... we're not like coming up with that out of the air. It's like, no, it seems like she's lying about her age.
Yeah.
Because even with the whole 28, 25 thing, she was like, oh, I'm 20.
Yeah. But there is also... I mean, there is... who she calls... What is it? What is it called when you're working for a politician like that? Canvassing?
Yeah, I guess a canvasser. I mean,
she's answering phone calls.
At this time, she was probably considered like a secretary. Yeah, to be honest,
because she calls someone that apparently she went to school with to do it to get the job.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, in school you are always good at taking notes." So it does allude that.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
That is like that she might be older.
Yes,
and
so it does kind of weirdly solidify, but that doesn't mean that maybe he's. She is 18, 19, just out of high school. I don't think she's not in high school.
Well, no, but even then, though, let's say the 28 thing was real, because that did seem like a knee-jerk reaction. And
say 28?
Yeah. She said 28 and then 25. She wanted to be
She might have wanted to be older for him.
Or she said 28 just because that was real and then jumped back to 25. So if that's the case, then Cooper, what's his name? I didn't write that name.
Gary Valentine.
Gary would be 18 at that point.
Like, are you talking about like if this movie they had 3 years together?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't feel like time went like that. This is kind of like over the course of a summer. I felt like it's all 1973. It's all set in 1973. 1 year. He turned 16 in a month.
Yeah.
So like I would say maybe half year at most, because that gas shortage happened in 1973.
Yeah, that's fair.
So their age thing up in discrepancy as what we have been doing in overanalyzing. But specifically, specifically, it does say that she is 25 or 28 thing. It's weird. But
So let's just say let's
she is 25.
he's 16, she's 25.
Yes.
Let's just call it
But
what it
the
is.
thing that didn't bother me, that was a long track to get down here. The thing that didn't bother me with it personally was the fact because, yeah, she might be of that age, but her mindset is not. And they constantly prove that and show that is how she still has the mind of a young teenage, of a young, like a teenager pretty much. But then you have Gary who, yeah, he's 15, 16, but he has this mind of a young adult, of an entrepreneur, of a businessman. So in a way, it's like, yeah, he still doesn't know things. Like he didn't know that vinyl's made out of oil. And she's like, how the fuck do you not know that? You know, there's this like, what did I write? How did I put it? This like intellectualism and maturityism that they balance each other out with. It's like, he's like more mature for his age. She's less mature for her age. But then she's still like, you know, understands a larger world of politics and he doesn't. So it's like they level each other out, which is why it fits for them to be like, for them to come together, like narrative wise, for it to not be such this brash thing of a woman, woman taking care of a older teenage boy.
Well, I mean, but that's the controversy was the fact that there was this age gap, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It still just goes into the 1970s thing. It's just a different time, and that kind of thing was just not really. And even then, it's like, what was the age of consent in 1973 in California? I don't know.
Probably 16.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like
maybe a little younger.
some states get really low.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of wild.
It's like, what? That's
kind of wild. But it's just like, I don't, you know, I feel like a lot of people, and I get it. A lot of people don't like that argument. It was the 70s, you know what I mean? But it's like, I think it's kind of like, well, it was. So, you know,
it's like we can't change what the 70s were like for you, for like, you know.
No, and it's also like
I mean, we could hide it, we could pretend, but it's like,
even that, it's like the action, the way the movie is portrayed is there was no predatory intent.
Not at all.
He went up to her.
Not at all. Yeah, exactly. That is another.
She was kind of. I mean, it does get weird that she went to the dinner because she seems so weird about it to begin with. But you're also like, people forget. Like, and this is the thing. People forget. 25. I don't care what you say. 25 is still really young, and you're still really figuring a lot of shit out.
Oh yeah.
I'm barely into my 30s, and I'm barely an adult. Like.
I'm almost 40 and I feel like I'm not an adult at all.
So it's like, you know, it's like, can you believe that we don't have a jacuzzi? But it's like, I don't know. It's like, that's a weird controversial thing to me. Because even then, it's a lot of these stories that we hear about, you know, these medieval knight stories where there's the prince and the princess. It's like he's like 27 and she's like 14.
Well, and that's another thing. It's
typically
it's like if you actually reverse the ages on this, I think the controversy would have been a lot more talked about.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You know,
like no doubt. Oh my god.
Yeah,
this movie would get you put on a list. You know what I mean? But then to jump to the other controversy, the Japanese one, fucking hilarious. All I could think about was Mikey. Remember that thing I told you Mikey told me to do?
Oh, refresh my memory. Wait,
to basically do that. I still think he's fucking trolling me. Like, yeah, you can just do that and it'll be fine. I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. He's like, I swear to you, you can. It's just like it helps break down the cultural barrier. So I can't remember what I'm just paraphrasing.
You're like,
and
no,
I was like, nope,
no,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if it ends a war. I'm not doing that. I am not taking the bait, dude.
I just love how he would turn in a very, very it's stereotypical Japanese accent, say something in English, and then she would start speaking Japanese.
Well, the funniest thing about that...
and then the next one's like, what did she say? I don't know. I don't speak Japanese.
There's that whole time where you're like, okay, maybe he can understand Japanese. He just can't speak it. So he's doing this weird fucking accent to try and bond with her. And then it's not until you see him way later again that, oh, no, he doesn't speak any Japanese. It's literally just this person that he's brought over.
Yeah.
Mail order brought... I don't know what the situation is, but just It's really hard to not do.
Wild.
It's really hard not to do. Just the character. And it's him. What's his name?
That's John Michael Higgins.
Yeah. John Michael Higgins. It's fucking hilarious. The dude is.
He was a great cast. This movie's great cast too.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move forward from all of that because I think like the biggest thing is the journey of Alana and Gary, and I kind of like we talked about Alana a little bit, and I wrote down just some like character like traits of them. It's like she's like emotional, reckless, impulsive, and then Gary's like grounded but daring and more mature for his age. Daring in a sense of like he like is willing to he's starting the waterbed business. He's starting the pinball business. He's getting Alana in to see the agent type thing. It's like he's maybe motivated is the right word than daring.
No, I would think that it's probably it's youthful daring because the thing is he's getting into these business things fearlessly, kind of like you do when you're a kid, jumping off the cliff into the water because you're not scared of it yet.
No sense of repercussion.
Yeah, and that's a kind of a good way to start off a business. You go in full force,
It came to me as we were setting up. He is kind of like a Holden Caulfield that is
isn't suicidal.
Yeah. Well, the fantastical like big idea thing, has this charisma. The Holden Caulfield, it's all a facade. While with Gary, it's a very much it's a real thing.
Well, it's just like you saying Holden Caulfield. It's like, well, Holden Caulfield is just baby Patrick Bateman to me. So
I don't make that connection at all. I don't. We'll talk about. We would have to talk about that another time. That sounds like a long discourse.
No, it doesn't have to be. Just what you just said, the illusion.
Yeah,
and that's a lot what Bateman had is the illusion of the perfect card and the perfect there's a lot of disillusion in
I see
a made up reality
true.
A perceiving the world. So that is a connection I made years and years ago that just can never get severed.
Fair.
I think actually a Catcher in the Rye something would be kind of cool now.
I've read things about making that a movie and how weirdly impossible it is because of the problematic nature. The problematic nature and the perspective of it. Because even up to this day, someone like a filmmaker would have to make a choice on perspective. Because the thing about that book is that the perspective is so open for interpretation. Because like still people like
get into arguments about that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like for me, that entire book, sorry, it's just the final thought on this, is almost like a weird like independent, lost kid movie. But other people see it in a completely different light,
Oh, that is a huge piece of shit.
I mean, he's a huge piece of shit.
I can't stand him.
Yeah.
I don't find anything redeeming. Again, I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember I couldn't find a single thing redeeming about his character. And I remember the conversations. You're right. It's like every single person has
it's like when I first read it, I connected with Holden Caulfield as like this sense of wanting the world to be bigger. And then as I got older and reflected, I was like, oh, that was it. That's not. It's kind of like 500 Days of Summer. When if you relate with Tom,
it's a different movie than if you don't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I wanted to choke him out. So
yeah. Okay, but Licorice Pizza.
I don't know. I was like, you came in hot, like, and scene. I mean, what are we at?
We're about an hour. So we should probably doing some last thoughts. I guess its episodic nature. Okay, that's the thing. Is like we keep seeing this push and pull, this like break apart, come apart between them, which is the thing for a good love story. And it's just like how they fall apart from each other. And then like one of the best scenes is when they're at the dinner and it's Sean Penn and Tom Waits, and how he comes like Gary comes in and Henry, the door guy, is like, hey, maybe it'd be good to get it to go to, hey, maybe it's a good night to get everything to go. And he's like, well, and Gary just like looks at Henry like, what the fuck do you mean? And looks up and sees Alana with Sean Penn. And he's like, no. Table 38. Table 38.
Jack Holden
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be like William Holden, I guess.
Yeah. Whoever rode a motorcycle constantly through their movies.
Well, then also, but my mom and I were talking about it because they kept calling him Jack Holden, but there was William Holden.
Yeah.
Who's the famous actor.
That would make sense.
But William Holden actually passed away from slipping, falling down, hitting his head while incredibly intoxicated, which is how Sean Penn fell off the motorcycle, but then popped up saying, "I'm all right." So it kind of feels like a weird, morbid joke.
I felt like there was bits of just the identity of not just LA, but California, because the councilman that was happening at the end, that was Harvey Milk. But Harvey Milk was San Francisco, which I was really, unless there was another big councilman for LA.
I mean, I could see that, but that
looking at how they had his hair, his mannerisms, the person that they got casted for it, I was like, is it supposed to be a connection to Harvey Milk?
I mean, this is
and
weird.
Also it's the 70s as well when Harvey Milk.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be weird then to get Sean Penn to play someone else when someone else is playing Harvey Milk? That's a little too meta.
Because he's not Harvey Milk. He's playing a different character. But Sean Penn's not playing William Holden. He's playing Jack Holden.
I know, but
and then you have Bradley Cooper playing John Peters because they got the okay for John Peters.
That seems very meta.
But do you see what I mean? Like, do you not see that connection? But Harvey Milk was openly gay.
Yeah, he was a gay activist.
Yeah. Did he come out after?
I have no idea.
That's the thing. Is like there was just something about the persona. Maybe I'm just seeing politician, 70s,
gay,
California, gay,
secret gay.
Harvey Milk.
It's gotta be Milk.
It's Harvey Milk. Sorry.
You might want to fix that.
I always do.
Okay. Fucking hot. It rattled my headphones. Sued today for causing a car accident. Did it a little loud. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I think, and that's the thing too. Is even that's a great scene.
Yeah.
That scene, because and that's again, it's just all dialogue, and that's what just really blows my mind. You think, crap, here's another creepy guy trying to get in her pants because she's the young intern secretary type.
I mean, he is.
What?
Are you talking about Sean Penn?
No, the councilman.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like, he forgot his wallet. Yeah, he forgot his wallet.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, crap,
and
here we go.
Their banter, and it's just the camera slowly zooming in on her, or kind of realizing what's
she's in
happening.
the reflection, isn't she?
The reflection.
Yeah, it's over her shoulder.
Reflection.
And that too.
Which
what
also
a great shot.
Well, and then just the metaphor of that.
The duality of the mirror, and it's crazy. Yeah. It's just really
it's just so done.
It's just a well done movie. And it's like that whole scene. It's just an incredible scene. And this I was sitting there, and they get up, she pretends to be the girlfriend, and they're leaving together with what?
It's also with that, you see the guy that came into the office earlier with the long hair and the glasses.
Oh, that was Hank, number 12. Let's call him the 12th man.
The 12th man, who is clearly some type of undercover private investigator trying to figure out, get the dirt if he is gay.
I thought serial killer.
Well, I thought that too at first as well.
Because every time something 70s happens, there's got to be a serial killer in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, and the glasses and the hair, I was like, what is this, Dahmer or some shit?
I was trying to think back into the person that had the crush on Jodie Foster, which politician he was trying to kill, if that was a president. It was like, is this supposed to be that connection to that?
What the fuck are you talking about? This sounds weirdly familiar, but I can't.
There's this guy who fell in love with Jodie Foster from Taxi Driver.
Oh.
And
I kind of remember this.
And then whatever politician. Yeah, I don't know 100%, but we're seeing the connections. Yeah. But so I was wondering if it's supposed to be some connection to that. California, hey, all the California stuff.
Okay, now the milk thing is starting to make more sense.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But then,
in the sense that we might just be pulling that happened in California.
That happened in
California.
California.
Yeah, California's fucking huge.
It's giant.
A lot of shit happened in California.
Yeah, San Francisco is very far away from LA.
6 hours away driving, and that's on a good day.
But it was just like how he came in, and then he's just watching outside of the office, how she stands up to him, and then when you see her walking into the restaurant, when he's clearly on the date with his boyfriend, partner, And it's like he saw that guy and he's like, I can't just be seen having dinner with this
man
who they clearly have seen me having dinner with multiple. I got to have a woman here.
Yeah.
And that whole conflict, but you're talking about like the telling a story without telling you the story.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having confidence in your audience to be able to put two and two together. I just really appreciated, but then, and that, they get up and they leave and you're just kind of like and again, it's not only just the dialogue, like you were saying, it's the acting. Mm-hmm. You really felt for that guy.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn, what a way to live.
Yeah, it made you tear up.
Yeah, it was really sad. And then they have that great moment where she kind of realizes, like almost this kind of like, obviously have this thing with this guy, but I have the opportunity to act on it. This man doesn't. Mm-hmm. And that kind of was almost like the pushing factor of like seeing this man in this weird situation that he is really unhappy in kind of.
Well, that's also the first time that she actually admits in a unsure way. It's like, because he asks, do you have a boyfriend? She's like, yes. No.
Exactly. Then that's what I said out loud too. I was like, at least finally someone is admitting something is going on.
Because Gary, this entire time, is convinced that they're going to be something.
Sorry, I thought I muted that.
You're right. You know what I mean? This entire time, like how he's always like, yeah, this is he's being cordial, like my lady friend, and then she's like business partner, and then just his look like.
It's the stereotypical and not done in a tropey way, but it's the kind of tropey way of being like, that's the girl I'm going to marry one day.
Yeah.
But he never actually straight up says that line that you hear all the time.
He might as well have that.
But that's my point. Mm-hmm. It's kind of that it ends with that one.
So kind of going into reflecting back, this whole like push and pull of them is they constantly have moments of where they're separated, like something big is happening, but then some big event happens to one of them that literally causes the other one to come running for them. Mm-hmm. So like the first one, when he goes to the waterbed, like she starts dating Lance, the boy, the other guy, that his co-star from the performance thing. And so he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm done with her, and I'm gonna go do my waterbed thing. And he's kind of, but then she comes in, but then he gets arrested, and in his moment of pure direness, like in this, like one of his lowest moments, she is running for him to help him, showing
they do run a lot,
her care for him. And then they kind of come together, and then then they have a falling out, and then she goes in on this weird date with William Holden, Sean Penn's character, and they have that like weird like standoff in the restaurant, just looking at each other. And then she falls off the bike, and it's like a very dramatic sense of like she could have been on that bike, and he goes running for her, and then they have that moment of looking at each other like they are in love, and then at the very end they're running for each other together. It's like little like foreshadowing thing of like they will run for each other, and then they collide in front of the movies. Very fitting. Mm-hmm. And the collision of it also very fitting of their relationship. This entire movie is that they have been running towards each other the entire time, but it's not in a very conducive way. It's a very not problematic. It's probably going to be problematic, but very destructive.
Yeah.
Like it's such a well-written script.
I just looked it up too, just so we had more of a timeline. So the oil crisis started in October 1973 and then ended in March 1974.
Okay.
So just to give us because they met and then.
Well, this was the very beginning of it. Like the movie has it at the very beginning of the crisis. So we are in October 73 at like a halfway point through the film.
No, because the oil thing happens when they already had the waterbed business. So we have met. We had our meet cute. We had our first.
I'm saying the middle of the movie is October 73.
Yes. So the middle of the movie is October 73.
Yes.
and then we end in 74. I was just trying to get a timeline of.
Might end beginning of 74, really.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just say the movie takes place over a year.
Yeah, it wouldn't be more than a year.
Yeah, it'd be about a year. So. Okay, I just wanted to. Because it's.
I meant to look up to see if that politician was a real politician.
Do you remember what his name was?
No, but the actor was Benny Safdie, who is apparently a known actor that I don't know if I've seen in anything.
He looked really familiar, but nothing.
He had very blue eyes.
Joel Walsh. No, he is a real.
So
Yeah,
it wasn't based on Harvey Milk at all.
no, it was not at all. Licorice Pizza is a real life former closeted gay politician.
All right.
Cool. So if you take anything from this,
I'm an asshole.
he was he is a. Wow, the casting's actually pretty great. There's a picture of him pretty young here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'll look it up later, or you could hold it, save it for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I really liked this movie.
Yeah.
I can't. Do you have anything else to say?
Mm.
I mean, overall, it's like this is definitely a vehicle for the characters. It's a character movie.
Yeah, character-driven movie for sure.
And like the coming of age thing, yeah, very much because of, like I said, like their maturity levels of like finding who they are. Coming of age is finding who you are type thing. But I feel like it's so much more of a love story because of the way that it is them running towards each other. It's like there's just more love story elements than coming of age. And like the coming of age is just inherent inside of a love story because at the end of the day, a true good love story, you find yourself by the end of it with the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the only thing is the ending when they're running hand in hand and it's kind of slow motion and she says
she finally says I love you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what I think about that ending. I think it means something and I don't know what it means. You know what I mean? I think that there's something more in there than just her saying I love you.
It's like they're running and then it freezes and then you hear her say I love you. You don't see her say it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. There's something else.
And I think what that is that it's like the idea of nostalgia. That love is a moment in time for them. Mm-hmm. This is all a capture. This is like it's in a snow globe. And without snow because it's California. It's in a California bulb of a moment in time.
It has snowed in
California. Northern California.
No, in Southern too. My dad remembers a time that it snowed.
What, in 1960 something?
2 or whatever. Whatever, when he was a kid.
Yeah. God, that would have must have been weird. But it's like, I think that pause, that freeze frame, I love you, Gary. It's literally... It's a representation of a moment in time.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And that's really what, because that's really what like Paul Thomas Anderson doing was wanting to create this like nostalgic feel of California or of Encino, San Fernando of 1970s,
mm-hmm.
of his childhood. And with this love story of these two unlikely people to come together. And it's crazy is like how Gary, like, just the charisma and kind of weird. You kind of get this feeling that it's like a fake charisma at first. And then you realize like, no, he's just a naturally charismatic kid because he's a child actor. He like I said, this lack of repercussions, he doesn't know what a repercussion is really yet. If something wrong happens, the worst thing happens, he gets sent to his room in a big way,
Well, and it also like really implies his parents aren't around because they're always working.
Yeah. And, since he is a child actor and, it's the 1970s, the money he has from his stuff, he can do weird investments like start a fucking waterbed business, start a pinball business at 16. It's crazy.
That's a good idea.
And like also being a child actor, he's,
I didn't know pinball was illegal.
There's a weird law about it in Seattle too. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. There's a history behind that someone explained to me once.
I read it.
You've read it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It was considered gambling and amoral. Yeah. It was like
weird.
Bad. And you're like
fucking pinball. Yeah.
Like you put quarters in and then you play a game. Like,
yeah.
It's the the no dancing in Footloose. God said so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave it.
The way that he kind of like he convinces her to come out to dinner, and it's like it's so crazy like that she does show up for that
it's
first.
kind of wild. Well,
And then when she
likes attention, and you can tell that from her other interactions.
Yes, exactly.
She likes being the object of desire, you know.
And like, and through this entire
with that.
movie, you see like Gary has this like charisma and this not what's the word for not self-esteem, but like this confidence. Thank you. I don't know why my brain shuts off when we're recording on words. He has this like confidence, but it does like the reason why it comes across as a false confidence is like as soon as any other guy shows up to start, talking with Alana, he shuts down in a very weird way. Mm-hmm. As soon as like Skylar's character showed up in the plane, he's just, what'd you have for dinner? Or what'd you get? He's talking to Alana.
Yeah.
And Gary's like, Salisbury steak.
Well, it's because, but also if you, all the interactions that we see are people that are quote unquote better than him.
Yeah.
Whether you agree, I say quote unquote because it's objective.
It's probably from his perspective.
His perspective, they are. They're older, they're more successful, they're whatever.
It's like in his group of people,
because like Sean Penn's more successful.
Yeah.
And well, that's all what it is. It's all every single one of these people that he feels threatened by are more successful in the career that he also wants to do, and she shuts down.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that that diversity of it, because when you're with him and his friends, he's the fucking top guy.
Yeah,
he's the guy. He's the one with the business endeavors. He's doing all the stuff. They're doing the scripts that he writes, all that stuff. For the business stuff. And then all of a sudden you get him into his actual element and he's at the bottom. And there's that insecurity that actually does shine through. And like, so when she shows up, it's just interesting how she shows up and she's like, and he's just, the way that he looks at her is like very much, he's enamored, sure. But it's also kind of like I got her. If she shows up, it's like, you get this feeling. It's like, if she shows up, it's game over for her. He's got her. Because she gave into it. She gave into him. Or you don't want to talk about it anymore, do you?
No, I don't have anything to add to it. I think you said it all.
Okay, thank you. You made that sound like, I don't know.
What did I make it sound like?
Like I took it all from you.
No, I just don't have anything to add to it.
What do you want to give it?
I mean, at least a 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I'll go with that. I was thinking around like a 3.5, but.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'd say 4 because I can't really think of anything that's wrong with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I just like when it starts getting, I don't want to be willy-nilly with a 4. You know what I mean?
No, and I think that it's like, yeah, I mean, if you want to bring up the controversial thing about it, which I'm not going to put.
I don't really care about the controversy when
that's
I'm
what
going
I'm
into rating.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. It's like that could bring it down to a 3. If you could say that's the problem with it, it's like that's not a problem with it. It's part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like all in all,
and even then too, it's like that him basing it off stories he heard and friends and interactions. This is a guy that was in their lives, like this guy, So I'm like, I don't think that breaks it down. It's like this is, it happens. So to not put it in the movie kind of makes it like,
yeah.
It's like, well, no, this dickhead existed. So
the dialogue is great, and you did a really good point on its ability to tell you without telling you.
Yeah,
which is a subtle a thing that some filmmakers just don't really know how to do, and sometimes the film just kind of needs it to be spoon fed. Like I was thinking as you were talking about that, I thought back to when we did Blast from the Past. And it's spoon feeding, but it was a successful way of spoon feeding, was how the people at the beginning of the dinner party were talking about the parents.
And how he was crazy,
Yeah.
Well, even like, okay, that's actually great. Because Blast from the Past, we gave a 3 out of 5, right? Mm-hmm. And that was something that we did talk about, was the kind of exposition and giving us the backstory on everybody. Mm-hmm. But it was very much in a movie, in a screenplay. We need to have them say this so we can tell.
We need really shortened up really quickly who they are so we can get to the story.
we can explain the bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Like that's what we got to be able to explain, but you don't want to spend a bunch of time on it. And yeah, that was great.
And it was a very fun.
And it was a great way of doing it, and it worked really well, but it felt like a movie. Mm-hmm. This didn't feel like a movie.
Yeah.
This dialogue and these moments felt like I said, you were just sitting there eavesdropping and happened to hear things you maybe necessarily weren't supposed to hear.
Like the scene with Alana and his sister, and they're smoking the joint. And she's like, "Do you think it's weird that I hang out with Gary and his 15-year-old friends?" Mm-hmm. And her sister's like, "I don't know. I don't think about it."
Yeah, like
Alana's like, "I think it's weird."
Yeah, and she's trying to find some kind of soundboard.
That's an interesting thing. Is like Alana through this entire film is fighting against this sense of how she feels about Gary, feels about being with them, but then she sees these moments of clarity of like, this is why I don't like this, is like the silhouette of them being boys with the gas cans and like being really immature, and you can just see the disgustedness on her face. But then you have the reflection of like then an older man
is doing the same thing,
who's now aggro, throwing a trash can through the window and then storming off, and she's like, "Oh fuck, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me." And then the cute women walk by and he's like, hey, how you guys doing? You guys like peanut butter sandwiches? Like
creamy or nutty. That's the thing. That's the coming of age.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. Is like I felt like this movie was more of a vehicle for Alana than for Gary as a character. It's very much both of them, but it kind of felt. I feel like she has the most growth.
I mean, but that's the thing, though. Is I don't think that really anyone had much growth. But the thing is, we're not. It's such a short amount of time. It's one summer kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's not, the end goal isn't for them to discover the
importance of the meaning of
life.
The
meaning of life, the one thing. That's not the point of the movie. The point is just to give us a glimpse into these characters day in and day out. And sometimes, and again, like we were saying, it's like, I totally think that you could watch this movie and you in 15 minutes won't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
I think this movie really, and it's not a better than you thing, but I think this is a cinephile. It's a movie.
Yeah.
You watch this to watch.
It's a Paul Thomas Anderson film.
You watch it to see how it was made, and this is an example of what just old school good film is.
Yeah. Well, they also filmed it on a 35 millimeter with old lenses as well, which I thought was great. Yeah.
But it's like, you have your whole spectrum of different kind of movies that you go into watching, the popcorn movie, the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This is just very much a quick little look into someone else's life.
Yeah. But there's also, and I think where we're going in with the 4 is that there is how Paul Thomas Anderson like directs it and tells the story where you get an emotional response, whether it's, and by emotional, I don't mean not just crying, but like you feel stuff with it because of how it's set up, how the dialogue is delivered, how the editing flows within it, these beats of space where, like, talking about, one of the moments, that moment that got me the biggest laugh was the sister and Alana, and sister's like, you can't be fighting with people all the time.
And then the fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah. And fuck you. And it's just like, she's proving her sister's point with her reaction. But it's like this silence and then fuck you and then silence,
Well, like the
rhythm.
Yeah. Well, and then what I was really weird. This is a weird kind of segue in a way, but the last movie that we reviewed that I really liked this much was Moonlight.
Okay.
And very similar. It's a look into people's lives, very dialogue heavy, and dealing with the ends. This is obviously more leans to the comedy.
Yeah.
Drama.
It's
lightheartedness. Moonlight is very heavy. And it being even then, that's something we haven't really talked about because I've been so focused on the dialogue. It's just a well-looking movie.
Yes, 100%.
They almost did the kind of the New York thing where they made the San Fernando Valley a character in itself, but a bubbly kind of, it's Sunny and
It's San Fernando Valley.
Woo! You know, and I just thought that was just really interesting. And yeah, that really, I thought it was weird, but I did have this same kind of feeling with Moonlight. And I remember we gave Moonlight something
I think
really.
we give it a 4 out of 5, maybe a 5 out of 5.
We might have. I mean, Moonlight was my Mogwai of the year. And I think that this actually might be up there. I mean, obviously we have a lot of time until we do the Mogwai Award. But this is definitely going to make it. This is going to be This is going to be in the top 5.
I guess for me, it's like I definitely feel a 4. I'm going to agree with, but it's like because it is a really, really, really good movie. But at the end of it, there was nothing like, there's no like lesson. I guess
I had the same thought because you kind of sit there and
it's literally just a slice of life.
And that I was going to say, you have this kind of like, oh, I guess, and you're like, well, that's fucking life. Like, you go, well, for some reason they put licorice on my pizza. Like, I don't know, and it's like. I had the same feeling of this kind of unresolved, uncompleted thing, and I'm like, well, that's not what this movie is.
Yeah,
this isn't getting the ring to Mordor. Like, this isn't what we're doing. We're not. They have to learn this lesson they're just 2 kids that have this weird relationship, and they finally decided.
You know what they learn? They learn emotional maturity-ish.
Kind of. Thing. I think that they're gonna.
She learns just like how to love, I guess.
I think they're gonna break up very shortly after this movie. Personally, like put the pen down and continue the story. I don't think it's gonna last.
Where'd you get the panda, Alana?
I think that
they said from the zoo that a panda's missing. Gee, I wonder where it came from.
Well, that's the thing with the age. That's the one thing with the age difference is that she is getting to the point where she's very set in who she's going to be in as adult. Mm-hmm. He still has a lot of growing. So I don't think she's going to get any better. But it does. The movie does feel it has this unfulfilled quest thing, and you're like, well, that's just life, and that's kind of what you're going into this movie.
That's life.
So, and I know that we're kind of now. The soundtrack's great.
It is, yeah.
It's a fucking phenomenal soundtrack. I really loved it, and they did that. They did a really great job of, So I've noticed with period piece movies, all they'll do is, 70s movie. We're going to get all the 70s hits and we're going to throw them in there. This was 70s hits, but even going back a long time and picking just really popular songs that were still being played in the 70s. They weren't necessarily hits in the 70s, but they were a 50s hit and they were, 60s hit. And it's just like, that's cool.
It really is a hit of nostalgia for people that grew up that time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we can't have that nostalgia, but we can recognize game.
Well, you can appreciate what they're doing, And like I said, it was
it's really, because even though we didn't grow up during that time or even in that era, in that area, we can feel you can feel the nostalgia.
When you can,
what I mean?
You can feel the authenticity to it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And then sitting with my mom watching it and be able to talk to her about, and then even with that, with her brother and everything, she was around musicians, and so there was this element of nostalgia of like that. What I was saying, about the Tale of the Cock or Tale of Cock or whatever it was called, and being like her, just being like, yeah, that's how it really was. It was kind of wild, just that's where everybody went to have drinks and have dinner, and you would just see so and so and so and so, and they just be chilling in there. And so it was definitely a really fun movie to watch with her and get her perspective on the nostalgia aspect of it.
All right, we're almost at 90.
All right. So we'll give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm down.
That is episode 227 of Licorice Pizza, which we gave a 4 out of 5. So that's pretty good. I don't think we've given a 4 in a while.
I don't think we have either.
I think
we've been watching a lot of.
Oh, we gave Primal Fear a 4.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I mean that's just the first thing I opened was a 4. That's just weird time. That was just weird.
You want to pull up an actor thing?
Oh yeah.
This is long. I mean, I'm going to say this one again for those who didn't hear it. Dakota Johnson in Peanut Butter Falcon with Thomas Hayden Church, who's in Idiocracy with Luke Wilson, who's in Charlie's Angels with Lucy Liu, who's in Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan, who's in Rush Hour with Chris Tucker, who's in Friday with Regina King.
The first one that came up, I kind of like, is Mila Kunis to Helena Bonham Carter.
Let's do it.
Okay. You can't use Family Guy.
No, not at all. It's a TV show. Can't use TV shows.
I'm just saying. I'm just reiterating, because that would be the easiest way. I can already guess from all the guest stars and stuff they have. Ooh, I just thought of a caveat for TV shows.
What?
If you wanted to do TV shows, you could, but they'd have to be in the same episode.
Oh.
So you couldn't be like, oh, Mila Kunis plays Meg, and Daniel Radcliffe is in this episode. Who, you know what I mean? It would have to be like.
But I mean, Meg is a bad choice because Meg's in every episode.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like, well, so-and-so was in season 1, and then so-and-so was in season 16.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No. Did they show up in the same episode? Then you can connect them. But other than that, you can't do it.
Yeah. If you can find that.
If you can find it. I think that's... what are we doing next week? I don't remember. Did you put them in the thing yet?
No, but I have a list right now. White Noise.
Oh, the
Adam Driver
one, right?
Greta.
2022, not 2014.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's actually a couple White Noise movies.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the Michael Keaton one.
That's not 2014, though. That's like later, isn't it? Earlier, I mean.
I don't know.
Anywho, 2022.
Maybe it's 2004.
Netflix movie with Adam Driver, White Noise.
White Noise.
Family weirdness.
Kind of feels like it's a
I feel like
commentary about COVID.
I don't think so.
Wasn't it about a virus and isolation and stuff?
I can't fully remember. Like I said, I only watched like the first 10, 15 minutes of it.
Oh, you started it.
I told you that I did.
Man, I didn't register.
Yeah.
So we're doing Mila Kunis to Helen Bonham Carter for the next Connections game. If you think of one, just go ahead and put that on the comments. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. On there, you'll find all of our promos. And then you can find our link tree to take you to our links. We are on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. We are doing cameras, so if you rather watch something, it's on there. Or if you'd rather just listen to our voices and get confused because they have similar qualities.
Really similar timbres.
Can't tell who's talking sometimes.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we can hear the difference.
I sometimes can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it happens to me too. I'll listen and there will be moments and I'm like,
Who the fuck said that?
who was that, me or is that him? No,
Should
get
I
it.
talk more like this? Hey, Peter.
No, Pudgy, don't smoke.
All right, Tommy, let's talk about the movie now.
Oh, God, fuck no. All right. Thank you for listening. This is Tommy. This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Goodbye. Throw that at you.